It was a simple white owl with a black feather perched on its chest. It was about 8 feet tall. Would you like to ride my owl up? Hello everybody, it is Regular Source here and welcome back to Harry Potter, but it's written by an AI part 6. Once again, if we hit 50 likes, we will come out with a part 7, so hit that like button and let's hop into it. Chapter 9, The Long Arm of the Law. Draco was standing triumphantly over the ashes of the little prince, while Ron looked about worriedly. He had not expected to die so young. He would miss his godfather so much. Hey Draco, we should leave this dead body behind us, Ron whined. He's probably going to get mad at us. I don't know what he'll do now. He turned, looked across the hall and saw Fred sitting in the doorway, staring at the little boy's ashes. What the hell are you doing here? He demanded. Oh, Ron, Fred said sadly as he looked down at the boy's ashes. I'm doing my job, Ron, and not wasting any more time. Yeah, all right, Ron said in a huff. But what job? He asked in an annoyed voice. Fred rolled his eyes. Ron, do you know what we do for the Ministry of Magic? He was silent for a while. We're the Death Eaters and everything. Plot twist. A sudden flash of recognition flashed across Ron's face as the little boy's name appeared. Oh my god, it's the little prince's name, isn't it? It's so obvious, he exclaimed. The boy is named Tom Riddle Jr. That means something. Draco smiled and nodded in understanding. He's the son of Lord Voldemort, and his wife, Dolores Umbridge. He's supposed to kill Harry Potter and kill everyone he encounters, and he's never met anyone that he didn't believe was a dangerous monster. That's why we get along so well. I'm really glad to know this, but how come my brother is a Death Eater? Ron demanded. No reason whatsoever, Ron, Fred said in a rather exasperated voice. But it explains why we both were good at our job. Me and Tom have known each other forever. We both have a strong belief in the Death Eaters, and we both believe our work is important. I knew he was a Death Eater. I just didn't know it existed in the first place, Ron muttered, his voice becoming more irritated. Draco sighed and looked Ron straight in the eye. Weasley, please. No one is safe. You cannot let the Death Eaters live. Not to mention all the other idiots that would do harm. He looked into Fred's eyes and whispered, Do not look away. Don't talk. I cannot let you leave. You'll not get out alive. Ron's expression changed from bewilderment to confusion as he tried to figure out what the hell was going on. The whole ordeal was making him uncomfortable, and if anything, he felt more frightened. As he watched in fascination, Draco and Fred both waved their hands and began casting spells. What do you think you're doing? Fred exclaimed in a voice that almost seemed sarcastic. He cast a stunningly powerful hex, shattering one of the chairs on the couch and knocking over another. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'm fighting for the man I love. Maybe I'm fighting for my friends. Who knows? Draco looked at Fred and cast a Patronus, taking on the form of a large bird and flapping his wings in the air. We can always find out by looking at the birds, he added to Fred's bewilderment. And if we do? Fred inquired in a voice so dry it almost sounded like pity. He couldn't think of the last time he had seen any bird. The two men began circling the room searching for more furniture. It was an intense sight and, if anything, made them less than pleased. Both Draco and Fred launched an endless array of spells at each other, hoping at each other's expense. Ron, now thinking of Hermione's apartment, could barely get out his mouth when he began muttering, What the hell is going on? And then a moment later, I have no idea what's going on. I don't know why that was capitalized. With these words, Ron's expression turned into one of intense fear and he dropped his wand. This is stupid. Oh, I think it's quite brilliant, a voice said from behind the couch. The two men froze in place in their chairs. A long dark line of magical power shot from the door into their room, lighting up the room. All the lights in the room went out and they all watched as a spectral figure appeared, floating in midair. It was a body made of glowing red and purple light, with tiny green eyes that seemed to stare back into the darkness. Do you understand who this is? It whispered. Ron tried to think about who it was, but nothing would come to him. Then he had a thought. Oh, are you the boy who lived? The spectre spoke with a voice of magic that was somehow familiar and magical. No. I am not the boy who lived. I am the prince who travelled through time to kill you. I am the Lord of the Dark. I am the little prince, Tom Riddle Jr. You are all nothing more than pawns in my plan. It is my will that I rule the world. I will destroy you all. I will make you slaves. I will give you everything I've lost. If it means your life, then that is what I will give it to you. What? 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 Well, I had the same reaction as Draco. What? We won't do it, Draco said with a shrug. Ron nodded. But what do we do then? Chapter 10. Harry is not dead. That is a big spoiler in the chapter name. Deep in the Hogwarts morgue, Harry Potter was still breathing, though his heart had already stopped beating. After an instant's contemplation, Harry Potter decided that in the event that the heart stopped, he should be kept alive in some sort of heart chamber for a while longer. So he decided to take out one of his many healing charms to help him stay alive longer. This had been a great gamble for his future life with Draco. Harry Potter opened the small vial and immediately felt a wave of relief as an enormous amount of magical energy was transformed into his body. He felt the power come upon him in waves, from each new wave until it was a complete storm. As the wave of power swept over his body, he felt a small wave of happiness begin to overtake him, but it was short-lived. Harry's body quickly felt the intense magical pain and he was unable to move an inch. What in God's name? I feel like a fucking moron, Harry screamed. Oh my god. Well, you should have been more careful with the magic this time. And your wand wasn't exactly powerful enough for such an intense magical charge. And your robes weren't particularly light enough, Hermione said from across the room. She rolled off the bed, revealing the long-tailed owl she had been hiding under her pillow. She held it at a 90-degree angle. Harry had no idea how she managed to hide an owl under the pillow. It was obviously a good thing. Hermione seemed to have her own plan, and had been the one to get the owl's attention. Well, it's actually the time for me to get out of here, she said. Hermione looked to Harry and gave him a sympathetic look. The owl stared at her, then turned. It was a simple white owl with a black feather perched on its chest. It was about 8 feet tall. Would you like to ride my owl up? We're going to get caught in this mess, Harry said quietly as the owl slowly lifted up. The owl slowly raised its head and turned, before it vanished. The morgue was empty of owls. What do you think? Hermione asked curiously. It's an invisible owl. The owl's eyes twitched as they looked at her. That's a little suspicious, Harry said nervously. This is a really strange owl. Don't worry, no one can see it. She helped Harry onto the owl's back. Goodbye, morgue. I'll call you later if you want to talk to me. Of course, the morgue. It wants to have a chat. With that, they flew the owl's body through the air. Harry was surprised. The owl would never fall. This owl's got eyes and he can see, Harry thought to himself. Hermione's invisible owl flew over the Great Hall, with Harry and Hermione standing on top of it. When it finally landed in the middle of a large table, Hermione said, Come on, everyone. Let's see who wins. Harry Potter will win. Harry and Hermione looked at each other and nodded to make the table. Harry looked at his watch. It wasn't too late. At least he was starting his night early. He would get in the Hogwarts common room, change into his clothes, take his wand, and look out the window for a good hour or so. Then walk into the common room and walk up to Tom Riddle Jr., stand up to look him in the eyes and tell him that the day has come for him to die. Hermione got off the owl as quickly as she was able, but after an uncomfortable silence for a moment, she said, I guess we should get going. I wonder how Ron's day has been. Do you think it was a good idea to put him through the ordeal? I mean, I know Ron's a bit of a prat, but he's quite good about being polite, you know? Harry looked to Hermione. I know that he has trouble taking orders when he comes home, and he probably doesn't want to talk to me about it, so I'm pretty confident that he can handle himself. I'm sure it's going to be fine. Harry smiled when he thought about it. Good old Ron was going to be okay after all, and Draco Malfoy wasn't going to be upset by anything. Well guys, that was the end of chapter 9 and 10. Harry Potter and Hermione are both still alive, so we've got some action coming up. Sounds like they're going to try and take out Tom Riddle Jr. Remember guys, 50 likes and we'll make part 7. I hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out.